Hello, my name's David Landini and I'm here today with Rod Anthony. Rod, can you just tell us a bit about yourself?
Yep, well, on the family farm here. I'm married to Leanne. We have 4 children and 2 grandchildren.
Yep.
My father came here after the Second World War as a soldier settler to this new irrigation area at Tullacool it was then, predominantly to grow rice through irrigation.
This was specifically set up as an irrigation area, Rod?
That's correct, David. Yeah. They set it up to grow irrigated crops, and that's this whole district was set up for the irrigation.
Yep, that was rice and pasture and basically very, very productive farms with the irrigation, Rod, compared to the dry land area that it was beforehand.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, these farms are irrigation farms. They're not big enough and the wrong soil type for dry area, basically. But with water, they're very productive.
Yep, that's right. Yep. And that brings us up to the problem that we want to discuss right at the moment. There's actually no water available for your farm and other irrigation farms throughout the area.
No, zero allocation. It has been for a couple of years now, and originally the storage dams were put there to provide irrigation water and to sort of drought-proof the country, basically. And it's just really disappointing to see, that there's water in the storages, yet we still get a zero allocation.
That's right.
The river's running a bank with water flowing off down to the sea in Adelaide, and yet we're still on zero and we can't produce. Basically, your production's cut down to probably, probably less than a third without the irrigation,
Yep, and the storages, they are Hume Weir in the mountains east of Albury, and also Dartmouth in Victoria. That water's trapped in those weirs. Comes into these areas from those water storages, and they've been up around, I think from memory, Rod, you would know better, but I think 2 years ago they were up around 80% full, or Hume was.
That's right.
And there was no water available for irrigation on this farm.
No, we didn't get any allocation at all. The same this year.
Yep.
And you can't in previous years, like Dad farmed here for probably 50 or 60 years without a hiccup in the irrigation. You had water every year, and you knew roughly what sort of an allocation you'd get by how much water was in the storages, whereas now the storages can have a lot of water in them, but it doesn't mean you get an allocation.
Yeah. And the great advantage of the irrigation, of course, Rod, is that under dry land conditions, if there's no rain, these go into very drought affected, unproductive properties. Very marginal. Yeah. But with irrigation, of course, it actually doesn't have to rain.
No.
But you can actually farm here and grow a lot of food.
Yep.
A lot of farm produce, beef, lambs.
The rice industry was a huge industry, in this area and up to Griffith. But there's none growing now because there's no water.
And what's happened, Rod, there's been a lot of farmers, representatives, very, very knowledgeable farmers from this area have made a lot of representations to politicians about the water problems, as in no water. But what's been the result to date of those representations?
Well, there's no result. Like, the irrigators have done a fantastic job of putting their case forward with a lot of facts that we seem to have to supply, but other organisations don't have to have facts.
That's a very interesting subject too.
Yeah, but anyway, they put their case forward, but to no avail. Nothing comes of it. The politicians will agree, but nothing ever happens.
They'll agree to talk to you and agree at some stage, but it doesn't follow through to action on the ground.
Well, when you got 3/4 of the parliament is east of the divide. What hope have you got?
Well, that's we'll go on to those numbers now, Rod, and there is a numbers problem in New South Wales.
No, for sure. Like, you've got 400 odd thousand people that vote on the east side of the divide that vote Green.
Yep.
And in our western side, there's only about 398,000 voters total.
That's right.
So, and the Greens are the party that, have made it quite public that they don't want food production, they don't want irrigation, they don't want the timber industry.
Yep.
So, what hope have you got?
there's 435,000 people in the New South Wales state election in 2019 voted for the Greens, who are opposed to irrigation, officially opposed to irrigation. But also there's a lot of voters who they might not vote Green, but they might vote Liberal or Labor, but they are very sympathetic to the Green agenda, if I can call it that, to actually have no irrigation.
Yeah, that's correct. But you know, the most disappointing thing in the way I think is that we just can't get the representation.
Well, that's right. In west of the Great Dividing Range, there's 8 members of Parliament west of the Great Dividing Range, and there's 85 on the east side of the, in the range or on the east side.
Yep.
And 71 of those are in the Newcastle, Sydney, Wollongong area, out of the total of 93.
They're astounding figures, aren't they?
They're astounding figures.
Yep.
And really, when you look at politics and look at numbers and the fact that the great representations that irrigators have made to politicians that really haven't made any difference. If you start to look at the underlying numbers in New South Wales, the political numbers in New South Wales, it actually starts to make sense, Rod.
Yeah, well, that's right, and that's the reason why we can't get anything done, is because they just haven't got the political power to do it, have they?
We haven't got the political power.
No.
Which leads us to the next thing, Rod, and of course we are here to talk about a Riverina State, and there are advantages in a Riverina State.
Oh, of course there are, David, and well, just the administration of the water for one huge one, but that's only one small part of the whole thing probably. But yeah, that'd be at least our voice would be being heard, and you know, you'd have the political power to actually do something about it.
I think if a Riverina State administered the water, it would be administered in a much more beneficial way than what it is at the moment.
Yeah,
and I'm really very, very confident that if a Riverina State administered water, the allocation, the availability of water for food production and farm production and the livelihoods of the people in the Riverina would be much better for the people in the Riverina.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, I think it's a great thing you're putting forward, and I wish you all the best with it.
Thanks, Rod. And I think it's a great thing. It certainly is. But I actually think it's a case of necessity.
Oh, well.
It's not really. I don't see it as a case of this is good, in that it's only good. I actually think it's actually an act of necessity. And if
no, well, it is. Well, we haven't got a future here without it. Without water, we have not got a future. And
without the numbers in Parliament, Rod, I think the two go together. Without the numbers in Parliament, I think the availability of water is in a dire situation.
Yeah.
And for us to get the numbers in Parliament, we really can't do it in New South Wales.
Well, just getting back to that water, David, like the system they put in place to drought-proof the areas, it's working fine. There was plenty of water in storages. On the biggest drought we've ever had, there was still water in storages, which we could have produced food and fodder.
Yep.
You know, but it just didn't happen.
And from memory, Rod, I think that was the, I won't make the wrong year here, but there was we have had terrible droughts with no water available for irrigation. But in those same years, the powers that be have actually had water flowing down the Murray River out to sea in South Australia, which I just find that very hard to accept that water can be administrated in that way.
Yeah, no, totally agree.
So, Rod, a Riverina State, what do you think?
I think it's the only way to go, David.
You've got to at least look at it and say, I think this is...
No, for sure.
Yep. Righto.
No,
thanks for your time,
good.
Rod.
Yeah, thank you.
Great to talk to you.
Yeah.